Welcome back to the Italian Film Buff podcast. How are you guys? It's been a while, I'm sorry, I'm still getting the hang of this English version of my cinematic experience in podcasting. But anyway, I'm still getting the hang of it because I'm still getting the hang of my life since I moved back to Dublin. Because my son started school last week, so this is his second week in school, and the poor thing, he's 4 years old and he's going through insane changes because he was born here in Ireland, but he spent just 7 months here in Ireland. Then we moved back to Italy, and of course, he learned Italian. Even if I made him watch cartoon Bluey and stuff like that in English, he understands pretty much whatever people are saying. Where when the context, it's pretty easy, but of course, he can't speak fluently the language at the moment. So going back to school for him, it's kind of difficult. He's going through changes. That's why also we moved back to Dublin in during the summer, so he had at least a couple of months to adjust to the idea of staying here, and then he was going back to school instead of moving go to school. That would have been way too traumatic for a kid that is 4 years old. That anyway is gonna get the hang of the language pretty fast because he's a kid and kid learns immediately. But anyway, so with all this thing going on, we are adjusting our life, and so every side project that I'm doing, of course, gets in the middle. So but I'm happy to be back. So I'm happy to be back to have a chat with you because many things happened. I watched so many things. I'm gonna talk about 3 movies today. I'm gonna talk about Life of Chuck, Caught Stealing, and Highest to Lowest. I excluded a couple of things about television. We're gonna talk about a couple of things that were released to TV. And next, I'm watching Peacemaker Season 2 and I'm loving it. Why alarms are exploding outside my apartment? What the hell is going on outside my apartment right now? That usually is super peaceful. So give me a second. There, there we are with a magic trick. For whoever is listening in audio format, this thing doesn't make any sense, but whoever is watching the video as well is gonna enjoy this snap thing. Anyway, let's go back into the episode. I'm gonna talk about those 3 movies. I'm watching Peacemaker Season 2 and I'm loving it. I'm watching Only Murders in the Building. They released the first 3 episodes. I'm in awe of this TV show because to me it's insane that Steve Martin and Marty Short, I think it as a creator, Steve Martin is the one credited, but anyway, it's insane to me that Steve Martin came up with one of the most interesting and contemporary idea for a TV show, because basically what I think they said was like something, okay, they're making comedy for thriller for murder things. People are really into serial killers, stuff like that. People are really into podcasts, and podcasts are basically the way bored people with a lot of free time in their hands. Not my case, I don't have much free time. But anyway, people are expressing their kind of free time through podcasting, and they really love crimes and stuff like that. So let's make a comedy about it. And it works like a charm because I believe that Steve Martin and Martin Short, even if they are from another age, speaking of comedy, they are amazing. That kind of comedy is not aging at all. I mean, if you watch them, even when they are guests in a late show or whatever, or when they do their comedy special, they tour the United States. My understanding, I heard a couple of podcasts. I think they were a guest in a wasn't Conan O'Brien needs a friend. There was a episode with Steve Martin, but it was the other one, Smartless. They were guests at Smartless last year, if I remember correctly, and they were talking about their show that they bring around the country in the United States. And I saw the Netflix special, and it's insane. It's fantastic. Their comedy routine, it's amazing. I mean, it's a kind of comedy that can't age, just can't, and they are amazing in doing it. So the show is fantastic. Selena Gomez, I love her, she's amazing. She managed to find a chemistry with them, and she's fantastic. And I believe the show is genius. I mean, usually those kind of stuff, they skyrocket into the stratosphere, they are amazing, and then they go bad because the idea of the audience is responding, we gotta do more. And when they do more, the quality goes down the hill. In this case, the quality, it's amazing. And I love the fact that Hollywood embraced this show as like, let's go play murder with those funny people, and they join the show. There are celebrity joining, and they are fantastic because they are playing, and they play with the story that is well written, and they play with the audience, and it's all amazing. I love Only Murders in the Building. It's fantastic. Plus, this year, in the previous year, they usually release those in the around August, and it was a really weird time because the TV show, it's very kind of it's amazing for fall or winter, because you have this idea of New York. They always have coat, jacket, and you always have this vibe of kind of, I think fall is the perfect season for murder. I don't know, fall or winter. It's not a murder under the sun. It's never that charming. But anyway, the fact that you can enjoy it during those season, it's perfect. So the fact that they decide to release at the beginning of the fall, it's perfect. It's fantastic. So anyway, I'm loving it. I'm hating Wednesday season 2. It's so painful to watch. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Season 1 was a nice teen show. I gotta be honest. Season 1, ups and downs. End of the day, was a nice TV show. Teen crime TV show. It was the classic Alfred Gough and Miles Miller kind of teen TV show. Perfect. I loved it. But then, after, I don't know, 27 years, they came back with a second season, and I don't know. I think it's gone. I think they don't have ideas for the show. I'm sorry. It's basically it should be a chilling mystery, something you go like, ooh. It should be kind of not spooky because it's still a teen TV show, but it's supposed to be like chilling thriller. So for teens, but supposed to be at least thrilling. The first season was a little bit thrilling. Here, the idea of the mystery and everything else, it's gone. There is no mystery. There is no thriller. It's just plain boring because they're bringing a character back from the first season, and to me seems super lazy. I mean, the TV show is not as fresh and interesting as the first season, and whatever potential it had is gone completely. And I'm watching the second part because Netflix released the first 4 episodes, then they took a break, and they released the second part of the season, and it's hard to watch. I mean, the other day my wife was like, we have to finish it, and I was like, okay, I applaud your commitment, but I'm not sharing it for Wednesday, but let's do this. And we sat through the second episode of this second part, that it's an hour and 5 minutes long, and it was painful to watch. At some point I was like, I felt like I hoped that John Travolta was bolting through the door with a syringe of adrenaline to put it in my chest to be alive again, because I was I was drowned by any will to live while watching the episode. I was like, I was zombified. It's unbearable. Anyway, to me, it's too annoying. It's empty. It's empty television. It's nothing. Nothing. I'm sorry. But anyway, let's talk about Venice, because the Venice Film Festival, or in Italian, it's the name, it's more charming, because in a way it's basically the Mostra d'Arte Internazionale Cinematografica di Venezia. It's a very long name. The Venice Film Festival. It's more effective, the English name. Make more sense. Even if it's not just about the film festival, it's more, and that's why that in Italian has a longer name. But anyway, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the most interesting movie that came out from the film festival. Let's talk about the awards, and let's talk about art and what art is supposed to tell and not to tell, because there is a discussion there. But anyway, let's go through. I couldn't go to the festival. I gotta be honest, I'm Italian. It's true, I spent 10 years abroad. In 2012, when I was 25, I left Italy, and I was convinced that I was never going back. I came back three years ago for 3 years, and then I left. I bolted from the country. I don't want to go back except for holidays here and there. But anyway, I was away for a long time, and that's why I never went to the Venice Film Festival. Never. I went 5 times to the Cannes Film Festival, 5 times, and I went once to the Toronto International Film Festival, that I enjoyed dearly. It was amazing. The Toronto Film Festival was the best festival experience that I ever had. It was amazing. It was fantastic, because I could stay with the people. They were screening with actors. It's not that the actors are there, it's that they present the movie, they talk about the movie. You feel the enthusiasm of being in a movie theater to watch something new, and everybody's expecting that. I was there the first time, and the only time I went to the Toronto International Film Festival was for Knives Out, when they released Knives Out for the first time, and I was to the premiere. By the way, the theater where they use for the premiere, it's amazing. I love it. And I was there, and it was fantastic, because the movie was amazing, of course, and the whole audience was laughing. And at the end of the movie, of course, there was a Q&A, and the question was like, are we going to get a sequel? And of course, we got 2 sequels, and the second one was released now, was shown at the Toronto International Film Festival this week, if I remember correctly. They show it, and the critics are all over the place, that they are super happy about the movie. Apparently it's a great movie. It's way better than the second one. Someone is saying that it's even better than the first one. Maybe just enthusiasm, I don't know. People anyway are happy as well with the movie, so I'm looking forward to watch it. It's supposed to be released in November. If I remember correctly, it's supposed to have a short theatrical run at the end of November, the 26th of November, if I remember correctly. And then on the 12th of December, if I remember correctly as well, is supposed to be released on Netflix. So if here in Ireland it gets released to a movie theater, I'm definitely going to a movie theater, because I love Rian Johnson. I believe he's an amazing director and screenwriter. He's fantastic. I love him. But anyway, let's talk about Venice. I'm gonna talk about Venice now. No Distraction. No Other Choice by Park Chan-wook. Park Chan-wook is back, and apparently his movie is one of the best of the year, and probably is gonna be one of the best of the year. And I'm looking forward to watch it, because this director, it's insane, because I missed one of his recent movies. I mean, Decision to Leave, I loved it. Decision to Leave, it's freaking amazing. I remember I watched it in the movie theater and I was blown away beginning to the end. The movie is fantastic under every aspect. Screenplay, the way it's directed, the shots are amazing. I don't speak Chinese. I don't, not Chinese, sorry, Korean. I don't speak Korean. So that's a big bummer when you have to judge the performance of an actor. So I can tell 100% if the delivery of the line it's good, because I don't speak the language. But as far as I can tell, they are amazing. As far as I can tell. Of course, I watched it in original with subtitle, and of course, they're fantastic. But anyway, on a technical level and story-wise, the movie was amazing. I haven't watched The Handmaiden. I missed that completely, and I gotta totally recover this one. And I love Snowpiercer. Even if it's not directed by him, but it's a movie that it was produced by him. It's by let me check. I'm gonna go nuts with this because it's directed by Bong Joon-ho. Bong Joon-ho, I love Bong Joon-ho. Is a great director. Stoker is a very interesting movie, but we gotta go back to Lady Vengeance and Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. We're talking about amazing movies, but at some point, we're gonna go back from the 90s, and I'm gonna talk about some of his movies, but they're fantastic. The trilogy of Vengeance, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, and Lady Vengeance are amazing. A masterclass in cinema, and apparently with no other choice it did it again, so looking forward to watch it. Father, Mother, Sister, Brothers seems like a Father, Mother, Sister, Brothers. I don't know if it's maybe it's something the children sings, I don't know. So to me sounds like that, but anyway, he won the Golden Lion, so the best movie of the festival. It's by Jim Jarmusch, and I like Jim Jarmusch. Here and there, he had a couple of movies that I don't like that much. To be honest, it was out of the blue. The fact that he won was out of the blue. I have a couple of friends that they are there. They are writing for an Italian website. I write for this website as well, but I couldn't go to Venice. I never been to Venice, as I said before, but they were there for the festival. They go there every year, and they were like, out all the movie that were like, this could be a contender, Father, Mother, Sister, Brother wasn't one of them. But it's just a good movie as far as my understanding is that it's just a very good movie. It's produced by Mubi, so we're gonna say watch it on Mubi whenever it gets released, or whenever it goes to the movie theaters. About Jarmusch, I gotta be honest, his latest movie, The Dead Don't Die, I wasn't on board with that. Didn't struck a chord. I mean, I wasn't sold that The Dead Don't Die. Patterson was fantastic. I loved Patterson. That movie is very powerful. I love that. I gotta be honest. But maybe the movie that I loved the most by Jarmusch are Ghost Dogs, Coffee and Cigarettes, and Broken Flowers. Probably are and Patterson, of course. But those are the movies that I love the most by him. So I'm not really into sold in Father, Mother, Sister, Brothers, but I'm going to watch it. Bugonia by Yorgos Lanthimos. Yorgos Lanthimos, I have no clue how he managed to produce those movies with those level of writings and this quality, because apparently the movie is very good. Apparently it's very good. It's very interesting. And I believe it's perfect for the time we're living in, because basically it's about Emma Stone, she's the CEO of a major pharmaceutical company, and she got kidnapped by a couple of her, seems like they work for her in the company in any capacity. Maybe they are in the storage room or whatever. But anyway, she got kidnapped by Jesse Plemons, Teddy, and his friend. They are basically conspiracy theories, and basically they think she's an alien. And this is fantastic. I'm gonna explain why I believe the premise of the movie is fantastic. We gotta watch the movie and see how it develops, because I believe it's perfect to describe the present. Because from one side, even if you watch the trailer and you see how Emma Stone portrayed this CEO, it's out there, but in a way that is truthful. I mean, those CEO, they really think they are way important, and in a way we gave them the power to think that. We gave them this power to think that they are super important, they are more important than presidents and government, and they can do whatever they like. We gave them this kind of level of importance, and so they, in a way, rightfully think they are super important for the ecosystem of the human race. But it's insane. And on the other hand, we have the blue collar man, the common man, that it went nuts. I mean, the blue collar man, the regular man, the average Joe, whatever you want to call it, went completely insane. And since he went insane and he can't find explanation to, let's say, complex problem or complex the pitching of the word, is going into conspiracy theories. Like there are kids hidden in a pizza place in New York, and then you show up with a shotgun saying, "Oh, free the kids." You're nuts if you believe that conspiracy theory is true. You're nuts. And it's not just that you are nuts, it's that knowledge is power, and the knowledge that you have is so limited that you are inclined to believe to explanation that are so out there that it's almost outrageous that you're giving them for true in any capacity. I don't know, but the present is like this. We are, as Ricky Gervais said, we are basically exchanging facts with our opinion, and our opinion are sometimes driven by feelings, and feelings are super personal, and feelings sometimes are wrong not per se, but according to what we feel, but how do we decide to give them meanings. So the meaning out of those feelings is wrong, and in this way we go to overwrite reality with facts that are not facts, are just fiction, and we decide that is reality, and it's not, clearly. But anyway, we are in this. So we are in the matrix, but for real. I mean, people are just rewriting reality according to their beliefs. Like, if you are an American listener, probably you are familiar with this concept. It's pretty nuts what's happening. I heard a couple of snippets, let's say, from the RDJ, the Kennedy Jr. That's kind of shocking. I'm gonna say it's shocking. The guy, if the narrative that he needs to come up is a narrative that is gonna be beneficial for his belief, he has no shame to state that he's gonna try to prove that 2 + 2 gives 76. He's gonna try to pull it off. He doesn't care about the consequences. If it's good for his own narrative, he's gonna try to prove, even if it's impossible to prove, but he's gonna try to rewrite reality according to his belief that 2 plus 2 gives 76. He doesn't care. It's shocking that a person like this has this much power to do so. It's shocking. But anyway, Bugonia, I'm gonna love it. House of Dynamite by Catherine Bigelow. I love Catherine Bigelow. I gotta be honest. I think she's amazing. She made some of the most influential and amazing movies of the modern eras, if we wanna define it like that, because she's fantastic. I think as a director, she's incredible. I mean, her filmography. I gotta be honest. I never saw The Loveless. It's from 1981. I wasn't even born. I was born in 87 when Near Dark was released, and basically was a neo-western horror film. So I have no knowledge of that as well. My, let's say, relationship with her started with Point Break. Great movie, horrible remake. Blue Steel, I watched it, but I have completely removed it. I gotta be honest, I don't remember anything about that. But Point Break, I watched it so many times that I remember it. It's an amazing movie. It's one of my favorite movies. Strange Days, nope. But I'm gonna say that The Heart Locker, Zero Dark 30. I gotta watch Detroit. I haven't watched Detroit, but I'm waiting for a House of Dynamite. I believe she's fantastic. I'm looking for this movie, and seems like it's amazing. The reviews are fantastic. And then the Smashing Machine with The Rock by Benny Safdie. The Safdie brothers, they made a move. They made a bold move because the Safdie, they made 2 movies, one each, and apparently they're both kind of movies that we are waiting to watch. The first one is the Smashing Machine with The Rock's about this MMA fighter. It's what I heard is that it's a different way to basically sport drama. So it's a different take on the sport drama. People were expecting something like The Wrestler, but it's nothing like that. It's something completely different. It's not a cliche of a movie. It's very out there and it's very different. But at the same time, it wasn't oh Jesus Christ, it wasn't a release at the Venice Film Festival, but I saw the trailer of Marty Supreme. It's another sport movie. It's a comedy drama, apparently directed by Josh Safdie, the other brothers, and it's with Timothée Chalamet. It's about this ping pong personality from sports. I don't know him. I gotta be honest. I'm not into ping pong. Gotta be honest there. But anyway, 2 movies that looks like 2 strong contender for the award season, and they both look really, really good. The Smashing Machine, apparently the reviews are insane. Everybody's loving it. The other one, we don't know nothing yet, but seems they're gonna take a lot of I don't know, recognition, or at least they're gonna be the talk of the town during the award season. So you are doing something, guys. I'm watching you. I know you're doing something. You're this day of splitting up and good boys. Then Jay Kelly by Noah Baumbach. This one is supposed to be released as well on Netflix, and before he's supposed to have a small theater run as well at the end of November, if I remember correctly. But Jay Kelly with George Clooney is the story of this actor that is basically trying to basically reframe his life according to his status as a celebrity and actor and fame or whatever. I don't know. Seems like I love Noah Baumbach. I think his previous movie that was released on Netflix as well, it was White Noise. I think that movie is brilliant. It's very well directed. I love the writing, and I think that is from a book, White Noise. I think it works super well. It's a fantastic movie. That there is a scene with Adam Driver delivering a speech in a classroom, and it's fantastic. I believe it's a great director and screenwriter, Noah Baumbach. I love him. But Jay Kelly, anyway, I'm uh, I'm having those 8.5 by Federico Fellini kind of vibes. So an actor trying to find himself in the world, but there is as well the good Adam Sandler. That it's I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's my perception that is wrong, but I have the feeling that in the United States, Adam Sandler is like seen like a buffoon by the critics. I don't know why. I think I love the guy. I gotta be honest. I think he's insane. He's outrageous in a good way. When he does his comedies, like he did Happy Gilmore 2, I still have to watch it. But he's as good or even better when he does drama. There was a Spaceman on Netflix, if I remember correctly, the title, with Paul Dano as those giving the voice to the alien. It was fantastic. I loved Spaceman. It's an amazing movie. It's well directed, well written, and Adam Sandler in it is fantastic. So I don't know what's the fuss about. I love Adam Sandler. Anyway, Jay Kelly, I'm loving it already. I love the premise. I want to see it. The critics were good. And then Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro. The critics here are kind of divided. Someone like it, someone didn't like it that much. I believe that Del Toro, as I think I said in the previous episode, I don't remember, but I think that Del Toro is insane misunderstood, or instead of misunderstood, I should said underrated in a way, because he made some of the most amazing movie in the history of contemporary cinema. He's a great director. He's a fantastic vision. If you don't want to go into something like the Pawn Labyrinth, the Fawn Labyrinth, I don't remember. Guillermone del Torone. Let's go watch his filmography. Sorry, the Pan Labyrinth. I couldn't remember the original title. Let's go check if you don't want to go into movies like the Pan Labyrinth, but it's amazing, not just by how he imagined this fantasy world, this amazing tale, but just the thing that he took something that could be imagined by Takahata or Miyazaki in their Ghibli movie and put it into a live action. So use something fantastic to talk about the war, to talk about dictatorship, to talk about, and using kids as main character. And he did that with The Devil's Backbone. Amazing as well. Probably his weakest movie, it's Blade 2, that is still a good movie, but if you wanna just watch like Hellboy, in a moment where they had no idea what to do with a comic book character, because it was the beginning of the wave. The wave exploded actually in 2008 after Iron Man, that became super popular, the genre, and that exploded. But before that, he made Hellboy in 2004 and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army in 2008. And in this very moment, it's 2025. No one managed to make a movie as good as The Golden Army, or at least the first Hellboy. No one. There is a new movie being released now, and apparently so bad, so bad, they want to kind of release it hush hush. It was so bad. And what are we doing? Why nobody is giving Guillermo del Toro the chance to close his trilogy, not in a live action, because Ron Perlman said, dude, I'm too old. At some point, Ron Perlman said, it's been too much, it's been too long, Nobody given us the chance to make the third one, even in, I think it was 2013, 2014 or 16, something like that, around there. There was a time when there was discussion about, can we do that? And they say, no, 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 no. We are not going to do that, because there was the remake with David Harbour, really bad, coming out. Or at least they were producing it. So, but at least I would say, give him the chance to conclude his trilogy, the Hellboy trilogy, with an animation. A very good animation. Bring back the original cast, they're gonna do the voice acting, and they're gonna work with the animation. They did a fantastic job with Pinocchio, and let him do it. Let him cook. I think that would be amazing. The fan will love it, because finally they would have the movie they were supposed to have back then, and plus they will have finally another good Hellboy movie because the latest one are really ridiculous. But anyway, I believe in Del Toro. I believe this Frankenstein is gonna be something that I'm gonna enjoy most likely, because I like the way he look at the stories. But anyway, it's very personal for him. I'm looking forward. Paolo Sorrentino, La Grazia. I'm not looking forward for this film, I gotta be honest. Not very into that. And the reason is that the previous Paolo Sorrentino movie, I have problem with that movie. Partenope. I hated the main character, I gotta be honest here. It's a kind of main character that I met in life, those kind of people that they think they are super different out there, they're super special. They are not, but they think that, and some way they shape reality in this way. They're not special. I'm sorry, they are obnoxious. And that movie is very obnoxious. It's annoying for how much is obnoxious. The only character that I love was the character portrayed by Gary Oldman. I love that character. Gary Oldman is fantastic in the role. But the movie itself, this thing about the view on life that Sorrentino has in that movie, it bore me to death, because I don't share that idea of life. I found it pretty, I don't know, obnoxious, and so I didn't like. So for this La Grazia, he once again is working with one of these main actor that he won an award, if I remember correctly. I think he won one of the Coppa Volpi. I think he was won by Tony Servillo, if I remember correctly. But anyway, he rejoined with Tony Servillo. He's a great actor. I loved him, but I'm not looking forward for La Grazia. After the Hunt by Luca Guadagnino. Luca Guadagnino is I see Guadagnino having troubles lately because his Surgeon Rock movie was cancelled, and if my understanding is correct, James Gunn basically addressed kind of the cancellation of that movie, saying that, okay, we had a great director attached, and I believe that probably Luca Guadagnino would have done a great job, but the screenplay wasn't working. They received a first draft, a second draft, a third draft, and the movie wasn't improving, wasn't that good. And they said, nope, we are not moving forward. The screenplay is not convincing, so it's gone. And Guadagnino made a couple of good movies lately. I was very disappointed by how the industry managed Queer, because I believe Queer was a very good movie. Guadagnino managed to be one of the few living director who managed to channel David Lynch in a couple of moments to basically to arrange a mise-en-scene that could be working with the way William Burroughs writes, because Queer is from a William Burroughs novel. And William Burroughs, I don't know if you ever read it or whatever, but is very, how can I say, he's not the his style of writing is very out there. It's not very very connecting to reality. It's very surrealist in a way. But anyway, uh, in order to have a mise en scene of that books that was working and that had heart and love and warm, and it was warm, he went into he traveled to great distance to find a way to realize that movie, and I believe he succeed amazingly well. And I believe that Daniel Craig in the movie is fantastic. It was one of the best actor of the year. It was one of the best interpretation of the year, and the fact that it was completely snubbed to me doesn't make any sense. I mean, something didn't work out with the promotion of the movie. Somebody didn't believe in the movie. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was a political thing. The time wasn't right, and they didn't push for the movie. I don't know, but it was insane. This After the Hunt by Luca Guadagnino, I'm not really interested in it. I'm gonna watch it anyway. Because I love uh, his style. I love how he directs. It's always interesting. It's never boring, Guadagnino. But uh, I'm not sold on the concept of the movie. The only thing that managed to spark as reaction by the critics in Venice was the unfortunate, let's say unfortunate, but I don't think it's that unfortunate. I think it was just sheer incompetence. The interview by the Italian journalist that basically asked a question about Me Too, Black Lives Matter, political correctness, and minority, how that impact Hollywood. The question itself, it's very dumb. But anyway, it's very shallow, and I'm gonna say why. But basically, she raised the question to Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts, and she cut off. Sorry if I mispronounce her name. I apologize. Ayo Adibiri. She completely cut her off, completely, and the reaction was like, "What's going on here?" They even were like, "Can you kind of articulate more your question, because I don't get the point." Unfortunately, my opinion, the point was that she wanted to have the opinion of the two white actors that was supposed to, in her head, be the victim of those movement, and so she was pushing a narrative, and the narrative was like, criticize this. I don't want to listen the minority, because she's going to be to have an opinion that it's going to be kind of how can I say, it's going to be an opinion that it's not gonna steer into the direction where I want to go. So let's cut her off. I want an opinion for you too, but from you too, but didn't go as planned, because Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts, of course, they didn't went along. Not because they don't have those, also because they don't have those thoughts that the journalists thought they were going to have, but because the question was like very dumb. I'm gonna be honest. I heard the video. I watched the video, and I couldn't believe myself how a journalist can raise such a stupid question. And I mean, and such a question with a specific agenda. Maybe wasn't her intention. Maybe I give the benefit of the doubt, but the way it was posed was really very disrespectful and dumb. But anyway, the last movie is The Voice of Hind Rajab by, sorry if I mispronounced the name, Kutren Ben Hanya. Basically, it's the movie that at some point it was the Silver Lion, so the second place in a way in the competition. But basically, it's the movie that after the premiere, even my friends there at the festival, they said this is gonna win. A couple of friends of mine said, I never been in a movie theater where I heard so many people crying desperately. Never happened before. I heard people crying during movies, but not at this level. And why is that? Because basically the movie tells the true story of Hind Rajab. She was a little girl. She was traveling on a car with her family, and the car was basically attacked by a military compound, and they basically destroyed the car with a number of round of ammunition that it's insane. It's completely insane for a civilian car that was no threat at all under any military circumstances whatsoever. So after the attack, the little girl survived. She picked up the phone and she called for help. And the movie is keeping the real voice, the recording on that phone call from the little girl's side. I heard the original audio that are the one that they're going to use in the movie, that they use in the movie, because back then when the story broke, they released part of those audio, if I remember correctly. So I think that they were out there, and I remember to listen a couple of things. And she's over the line saying, "Please, I'm scared, I'm dying, please come help me." And you hear a little girl. She's a little girl. It would be cruel already if she was a woman, a grown woman, but she was a little girl, and it's more cruel and vile, because what the film does is that the fictional part, the part that they recreated with actors and stuff like that, it's the part that we see. So the people from the other side of the phone answering the call and talking to the girl and try to understand if they can help her. And the thing is that the more cruel thing is that when they send an ambulance to help her, the military compound basically open fire toward the ambulance as well, and they basically didn't allow any sort of help to come to rescue the girl. And as I said, it's vile, it's cruel, it's completely unjustifiable, and it's just horrible. And I believe those kind of story we need to see, we need to hear, and we need to watch. Art exists also to tell those kind of stories. Because I believe, we live in a moment in time that it's completely insane, because we are divided in the dumbest way possible. We decided to give up faith in a sense of religion, to give faith to a political view. And so people say, I join this political view, this is my faith, this is my Bible, whatever they say goes. And inside this idea that whatever they say goes, it's also the idea of a little girl being killed like this, and people said, oh no, it's fine, it's justified. No, it's not. Doesn't matter what is your political view. It's not a matter of faith. Politics, it's a service for the community, for the collectivity. And in the very moment, even if you're voting for, let's talk in American terms, maybe this podcast is being listened by, I don't know, American audience. Let's talk in a broader sense. So, doesn't matter if you're a conservative or progressist, doesn't matter if you're right wing or left wing, doesn't matter. Whatever it is you stand for, but in the second the people you are supporting, they are starting to embrace those kind of vile acts, you're supposed to say nope, no, this is wrong, this is wrong, because good and evil in life exist, and this is evil. There is no chance that you can reframe this to make it like a good thing or as something that was necessary. There is no way. It's evil. And you should say, okay, 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 let's stop. I vote for an idea, but this is not the idea I vote for, so I don't stand for this. Your human spirit is supposed to prevail over this, and we need to hear this story, because sometimes we are too detached. We are already kind of detached by reality because we just type on a keyboard. We have this level of detachment for reality already, and we are seeing the consequence in real life, in the everyday life. But when we talk about war and stuff, they are way far from our daily life, stuff that we can't conceive because we are not there. We became way more detached, and so those kind of movies are necessary, because movies are made as a form of escapism as well. I mean, movies are made. Méliès was making stories about adventure and stuff like that. He was making special effect at the beginning of cinema, and that is fantastic. Movies are as well a marvel to make you dream, to make you escape reality. It's fine. But movies are made also to tell you a story with a morality. Has always been like that since the ancient Greek. The satire, the idea of satire comes from, it wasn't, I know that people like to think, I don't know, sorry if you're American and you get offended, but I don't care. The fact that you're offended doesn't mean that you are right, as Ricky Gervais said. I don't know, you like to think that stand-up comedian like George Carlin and the one that came before him, they invented satire. No, the ancient Greece, a gigamillion years ago, they invented satire, and they were making, even when writing drama, the way we write today is still connected to the way they were writing, because the way we're gonna watch The Odyssey by Christopher Nolan, The Odyssey, Homer, and all of those other drama writer back in the ancient Greece, the way telling tales about men's facing gods, but the way talking about the everyday life, the way talking about morality, about good and bad, the way trying to say something to people. Today we kind of try to make those kind of things discussion with superheroes or with sci-fi, Blade Runner, Evangelion, Akira, Cyberpunk, what is called the TV show, the animated TV show that is fantastic? I don't remember, but Cyberpunk. Anyway, we use fiction to entertain, but also to tell stories. Sometimes are silly, sometimes are for everyday life, for a regular Joe, like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It's an amazing story, fantastic, very funny, very light, very bright, very encouraging, but it's for the everyday person. And that has even if it's entertainment, it has an idea behind. They want to tell something to people about how they can live life and change their life. Art can do all those things. Whoever comes and said, oh, art should talk about politics and war, fuck off. This is my message, because I'm going to talk about a couple of movies that do that. As I said before, The Pan Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro. But if you go that, one of the movies that you can watch today and that will allow you to enjoy it, because it has a kind of degree of distance between the kind of war and the ideology we're fighting today. But if you watch Grave of the Fireflies by Isao Takahata. I think it's gonna break your heart. If you never watched Grave of the Firefly, it's a animation. It's an animated movie by Isao Takahata. It was released in 1988. I was 1 year old. I'm 38. Anyway, Grave of the Fireflies, sorry, through an animation, it talks about World War II. It's an anti-war film, and the main character are two kids. And it's gonna break your heart because it's gonna show you from the point of view of the Japanese side that in a way it was we used to say the wrong side of history. We can say that in a way, but it's gonna show you the horror of war and how the most innocent pay the highest price during the war. And it's gonna show you how that affected Japanese as a country. And it's an amazing movie, and it's an animated movie, and it's not going to be soft. If you have parents that maybe are very conservative, that maybe they don't understand this conflict between whatever is happening in Gaza, show them not the voice of Hind Rajab when it will release. Show them that movie, but show them Graves of the Fireflies, because they're gonna be way distant. Speaking of team, because they're gonna be super heated, because they're gonna be no, but the Facebook said that they're not gonna go around with that kind of stuff that they read on the internet and that they believe. They're gonna sink into another story, into another time, and they're gonna understand how hard and how humanity gets impacted when there is war in the middle and stuff like that. But those movies are necessary. You can do it with animation. You can do it with live action, like the voice of Hind Rajab. You can do it in different way. You can do it in a fantastic way, in sense of fantastic hyperbolic storytelling, like The Pan Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro. Or you can do a very serious movie. You can do Schindler's List. You can do The Zone of Interest. But artists, they are here because they basically watch the world unfold before their eyes, and then they have thoughts, they have feelings, and they elaborate those feelings into a story. It can be a real life story, or it can be completely hyperbolic and fake and can be entertainment, whatever. And they're gonna tell something, they're gonna say something, they're gonna tell a message. Even David Lynch, he was highly criticized when he was making those very horrible and cruel bad guys in his movies. But he was saying as well that people were kind of super intrigued when in the safe space of the movie theater, because they are in the dark all together, they feel safe. But when they come into light, they reject those characters because they are evil and scary. But the point of telling stories about something that is evil and scary and mean and vile, it's not doing for the sake of it. It's because we gotta understand where evil comes from and how to basically defeat it. The purpose is not to basically entertain and do and have fun with evil. It's also to understand where it comes from. But in order to understand evil, you gotta dance with it. You can't look far away from it. You gotta embrace it in a way. And this is what the artists, they do. And we gotta do that. And so the voice of Hind Rajab, I think I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna be very hard to watch. As a father of 4 years old, I follow journalists even on social media, then they report testimony, and I see little girl and little boys in the war zone, it's not it's something that stays with you. But you gotta look, because if you stay in your bubble, if you deny your reality, as we were saying before for Bugonia, you can't live. You can't understand good and evil, because you're denying what you don't want to see, you don't want to watch. You just want to say your comfortably numb existence and be enraged by stuff that are not actually the issue in your life. It's just the enemy that you want to frame. But anyway, this was all about Venice. I want to offer a quick recap of Venice, but anyway, that's it. I want to talk about the movies I watched in the latest weeks. I watched Life of Chuck, Code Stealing, and Highest to Lowest. I want to start from Life of Chuck by Mike Flanagan. I had great expectation for this movie, and probably that's why I didn't enjoy the movie as much as probably I would without great expectation. I watched the trailer, I was super sold, I heard amazing critics, and I'm not disappointed. I'm gonna be honest. It's not like I'm disappointed. It's just that I think the movie it's way more simple that it's the movie it's way more humble than how it's proposed to the audience. I'm gonna explain what I mean. The story is from a short story by Stephen King that we think he's the king of horror in a way, but he made a lot of stories that Stand By Me, they became movies that are more like everyday stories anyway, and he can be very heartfelt, and he can find meanings in amazing things. Anyway, the story is about Chuck, okay? This guy is the main character, and I'm not gonna say anything about the story, because I realize that anything I say about the story, it's basically a spoiler. The only thing I can say is the way the story is told, it's not chronologically. Basically, it goes from, let's say, the end of his life in a way, and it goes backward, even if it's not in a specific chronological order. But it's divided in 3 acts, and you follow those 3 acts as well, because there is a mystery in the film that is going to be unraveled at the end of the movie, that it's the supernatural element of the mystery. But the whole thing gave me the vibe of the Twilight Zone episode. In a way, at some point I thought like this could have been the Twilight Zone episode, like an hour the Twilight Zone episode, and probably would have been way more effective. I think stretch the story into a movie is too much. The movie length is way heavier. It's more heavy than the potential of the story, because the story has a great heart about life, about how we deserve to be happy, how we deserve to live a fantastic life, how we deserve to be extraordinary. And that doesn't mean we have to be extraordinary in everything, but we can be extraordinary in one thing, and that thing can be our thing, and that thing it doesn't have to be something that is going to change our life in a major way. It doesn't mean that the thing that makes us extraordinary will make us the king of the world, the CEO of a gigantic company with billions of dollars. That's not the thing. Extraordinary means that you are amazing in something, that something is going to make you happy, that something maybe can make you happy in your work life, or whatever. But being happy doesn't mean per se, or being realized in life doesn't mean per se being insanely rich. We gotta detach the two things. They're not they can't work together. It's not possible. For everyone to be extraordinary means cars, and this is not the way life works, because this is not what gives life's meaning. And the movie, it's amazing in a way. It's graceful. It's heartfelt. The way the fantastic element step into the way that the movie structure, the story structure is being built. I love the fact that the whole thing is based on a Walt Whitman poem, and it's amazing, and it's an evolution of that poem into a story. And I believe it's an essential story that everyone is supposed to listen and is supposed to receive, and we should pay a lot of attention. But the movie itself is not, as I said, the story, the idea of the movie, make a movie out of this story, it's not a great idea, because the story is not as there is not as much to say to stretch it into a movie format. That's the thing that I said before. But I believe it's a good movie. It's a decent movie. And I think that if you watch like a movie as a very heartfelt story that you're going to enjoy, it's going to be good. It's going to be great. And Life of Chuck is magnificent in a way. It has a great meaning and message. But it doesn't work really well as a movie. I think it would have been way more beneficial for this story to be something like, I don't know, an episode of an anthology series. It would have worked way better probably, instead of the length of a feature film, even if it works as well as a feature film till some degree. Okay, this is my thoughts on Life of Chuck. Okay, very easy. It's I don't think there is nothing more to say. I kind of disappointed because I was getting like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty kind of vibes, but that movie is actually a movie. It has a story that can hold on his shoulder the weight of a movie. Life of Chuck, no. That's it. Mike Flanagan did a great job, and even the cast was amazing. They're fantastic, but the movie is not that powerful. I gotta cut a second. Sorry, it's a cinema podcast, so I'm supposed to at least take care of the visual side, because there is a video edition. There is video in this podcast, but I wasn't going nuts because I'm in Ireland and I gotta keep a term with the fact that lights change constantly and I had my blinds open, but my background was too bright and it was driving me nuts. Sorry, I had to do something. So I'm like this. It's OCD kind of stuff. Anyway, Code Stealing by Darren Aronofsky. This is another example of a movie that is very weird. Why? Basically, Darren Aronofsky made a movie that surprised everyone, because people watched the trailer and went like, so is this a Guy Ritchie kind of movie? This a kind of comedy element and stuff like that? Meh. Yes, in a way, yes. Basically, it's the story of this guy, Austin Butler, that he was prominent baseball player, but stuff didn't go well. There is an incident that is going to be part of the movie, of the theme of the movie. It's going to be a recurrent thing in the movie. It's going to be big part of the arc of the journey of the main character, and life didn't go as expected. He's a bartender and he has a friend that is Matt Smith, Sam Smith. I don't remember the name of the actor. No. Matt Smith. Okay, Matt Smith. It was correct, Matt Smith. And he's British and is in some big trouble. And he leaves to go back to England because his father, he's ill and is about to die, and he goes back to England, but he leaves trouble to this guy, and suddenly is in the middle of the trouble that his friend Matt left him with. And so this is the movie, and is a kind of guy it's a kind of Guy Ritchie movie. Yes, in a way, yes, totally, 100%. It's a kind of Guy Ritchie kind of movie, gangster movie, although it's not, because it's still a Darren Aronofsky movie. So basically it's a crime movie. Sometimes you're gonna laugh. The characters are all over the place. I mean, you have those kind of characters that are typical of those kind of story. I mean, you have Lieb Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio. There are those two, basically. I think the correct name is Orthodox Jews, if I remember correctly. Sorry, I'm Italian. We don't have those stuff in Italy, so I understand those stuff reading books and novels and watching movies. So if I'm incorrect, please correct me and forgive me. But anyway, those two Orthodox Jew, but they are at the same time two pretty cruel criminal at the same time, and they have element of comedy. They bring element of comedy with them, but at the same time they are very cruel. I mean, the thing is that's how I see Aronofsky. Aronofsky is a kind of director that is an auteur. An auteur means not that he makes elevated cinema, but it means that basically he has his own poetic view of cinema. So every time you see a movie by Aronofsky, you say, "Oh, this is an Aronofsky's movie." It's not like it can be mistaken for, I don't know, another director's general director movies. It's not like you say, "Oh, it's Chris Columbus," that basically when he directs can be anybody. In a way, it's not in a bad way. Just we have authors and we have directors that they don't leave a sign on the story and on that the choice they make when they direct the movies. Okay, they don't make distinct choices in the poetry of the movie. Anyway, in this order of thoughts, Aronofsky, he has tackled basically many different genres, sci-fi, fantasy, and those kind of stuff. But every time he made choices that made the movie basically be, how can I say, a movie that it's bent to his idea of how the world works. So let's make an example. Requiem for a Dream. It's basically Trainspotting. You watch Trainspotting, you have fun, it's all over the place, it's all over the top, and it's funny, even if it's serious theme included in the movie. It has a message. Then you watch Requiem for a Dream. It's kind of Trainspotting, but very depressing. and no, the title itself, it's Requiem for a Dream, so it's gonna be pretty sad. But that's the thing. Then you watch I don't know, The Fountain is the idea of Darren Aronofsky of an epic science fiction, in a way, with fantasy element in it. Is his idea, and sometimes it's very sad, sometimes it's very dark, but this is the idea of Aronofsky. This is how he sees the world. The Wrestler, Black Swan, Mother. I haven't seen Mother, I gotta watch it, to be honest, but I watched The Whale and I love The Whale, but it's as well kind of very dark in a way. It's the way Aronofsky see a conflict, a drama conflict between a father and a daughter and those kind of stuff. This is how Code Stealing is basically how Aronofsky see the crime genre. And it's very violent. Usually in those kind of movie, violence, it's very how can I say, it's for entertainment's sake. In a Guy Ritchie movie there is violence, but I don't know, if a guy breaks a finger or an arm to another character, he breaks an arm, but the way it's done is kind of playful, it's kind of in a way cartoonish. The scene next is gonna have a cast, and that idea is gonna be part of the comedy routines that we're gonna have, part of the jokes and stuff like that. If you watch Tarantino movie, violence, it's very graphic, but it's also all over the place and all over the top because it's for entertainment's sake. You don't have to take seriously Quentin Tarantino violence. If you watch Django, the violence is explosive. There is they are playing a scene when at the end in the house when there is the shooting, and at some points you pull the trigger and you have the sound effect of a cannonball, like me. And then you see this outrageous amount of blood exploding for a guy that's on the ground, and even if he was hit multiple times, he basically keeps moaning, oh my god, it doesn't make any sense. So maybe you hear a sound and a piece of furniture explodes in a million pieces. Anyway, it's very entertaining. In Code Stealing, it's a crime like Guy Ritchie's kind of crime, or Pulp Fiction if you want, but the violence is very serious. At the beginning of the movie, no spoiler, but at the beginning of the movie, when the thing starts, the thriller part starts, Austin Butler character gets they beat the crap out of him, but gets injured really bad. It's not like it's he gets beaten up and he just has a couple of bruises, or there is this scene, oh, let's put some ice here, or let's put a couple of stitches on your on your head because you hit your head. It's not gonna be like that. He's going to a hospital, he's going to stay in a hospital, he's gonna have surgery. It's very dark. And violence in general in the movie, it's very dark and it's very dangerous and it's very serious. It's basically a movie that gives that idea of a crime, of a comedy crime, but with this idea of seriousness and a dark twist on it, that it's more violent and visceral, that it's kind of Aronofsky's things. And to be honest, in the movie there are even characters, I'm not gonna make any reference, so spoiler free, that are gonna die in a brutal way. And while I was watching, I was like, nah, come on, no, they're gone. This is the worst. I mean, the main character, usually you have those main characters that are kind of fucks up. They screw everything because they gotta be adults. They gotta face whatever they gotta face their wrongs, whatever they do wrong, whatever they gotta face that side of their character that make them maybe childish, maybe they are not growing up in a functional way. They're still like, this main character is still basically pity himself all the time because he could have been someone in baseball and he's not, and so he's not moving forward, he's not accepting his responsibility. And the more he doesn't accept his responsibility, the more people are going to die, because now the stuff is serious, because there is something at stake, that it's dangerous, and he's supposed to be an adult in the situation. If in a Guy Ritchie movie a character like this would face basically not many consequences, I mean, they're not gonna die brutally, all the people around him, basically all over, whoever he meets is gonna die. It's not gonna be like this. Like it's not gonna be like this. It's gonna be, everything is gonna be way more lighter, light spirited, let's say like that. In this movie, people are going to die. It's very dark, as I said, and so In a way, it works. I mean, I enjoyed the movie, okay, even when they show you little by little the accident that he caused. Basically, Austin Butler, he caused an accident, and it's why he's no longer. I mean, it's not why, but the consequences are why he's no longer a baseball player. But anyway, the way the accident is shown, when they finally show it, it's very graphic. And it's not into the mood of those kind of movies. So basically, Aronofsky contaminated the genre with his idea of how the genre is supposed to be. It's a crime by Aronofsky. And it's kind of funny, but it's kind of very dark. And this idea, for me, it works in some moment, and in some other it doesn't work. I think the movie is too dark sometimes. Not because I don't like dark stuff, but because I think this mix is the kind of mix that you gotta take a stance. I mean, you gotta take a decision. Okay? It's more correct to say like that. Or you go too dark, or you go into the dark direction, or you go into the silly Guy Ritchie direction. You can't take both, because at some degree, in some degree, it takes both. I take this and I take that. Doesn't work. To me, at least, doesn't work. It seems like a movie because it's also take place in the 90s, in 1998. So I like when they do those stuff. I like even the Coen brothers. They usually, when they tell stories, they are never in the present, or always in the another moment in time. So I like the fact that the movie is told. It's a story in the 90s, end of the 90s. Although I don't like this kind of mood that is an hybrid between two things, because if in a Guy Ritchie movie, when you like a Guy Ritchie movie, it's gonna be your movie forever. You're gonna watch it when you're sad, like a movie like The Snatch or Rock and Roller. I love that movie, I like it. Or even the latest, The Gentleman. I like to watch and rewatch those movies. They are kind of comfort movie in a way, because they are insane and I love them, and the character they became iconic. Brad Pitt is an iconic in The Snatch. The character are amazing. In this movie, it's not the kind of movie that you're gonna rewatch willingly and happily. It's a movie that it's gonna be like, okay, interesting, move on. This is the kind of reaction I think people are going to have. Like for Quentin Tarantino, I love to rewatch Django. I love to rewatch Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill or Reservoir Dogs. I love to rewatch those movies because there are elements that make the movie kind of iconic. But in this movie, Caught Stealing, he tried to make the movie iconic. He tried with Austin Butler, bringing back in the 90s, even the relationship that he has with the character played by Zoe Kravitz. He's trying even with Matt Smith, even with the bad guys. He put Bad Bunny in the movies. In a way, he tried to make the kind of iconic characters that we see in those movies, but his interpretation is so cruel, not cruel, dark, let's say dark, more serious, speaking of tone and moods, that at the end of the day, you don't bring them home with you. Those characters are gonna be there, and that's it. This was my impression. It's an experiment that is not working. And I think, thinking of Aronofsky, he had this idea of Batman. If you remember correctly, he wanted to make Batman Year One, an adaptation of the comic book, but he wanted to make Bruce Wayne a sort of, if I remember, he wanted to make him autistic, if I remember correctly, and he wanted to make him poor. He wanted to be Alfred, to be like a guy working in a bike shop, repairing bike and stuff like that. Why? I mean, the concept can be interesting for a comic book spin-off, for an alternative idea of Batman. But if I think about Batman, I don't see that happening. I think the tone that you're choosing and the character that you want to portray, they don't match. That's my thought. And this movie is like that. That he makes a concept for another concept and they don't match. This is my idea. Not that the movie is bad at the end of the day. It's a decent movie. You watch it, you enjoy it, but something doesn't work, doesn't add up at the end of the movie. So I think this is it. I wasn't that enthusiastic by the end of the movie, so that's it. Move on to highest to lowest. I watched this last night. So this is the new Spike Lee movie. He was shown at Cannes this year. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I couldn't go to Cannes this year because I was moving, so couldn't do it. But it's basically an American crime thriller. It's a remake of Akira Kurosawa's 1963 Japanese film High and Low, that itself based on the 1959 American novel King's Ransom by Ed McBain. So the movie, it's a circle. It started from United States, went to China, to Japan by Akira Kurosawa, and then he came back home. And the cast, we have Denzel Washington, Jeffrey Wright, Eze Brockie, and yada yada yada. Anyway, what about this movie? Okay, so I don't know. I'm bipolar about this movie. There are some things that I loved and some things that I didn't love that much. I gotta be honest. I'm not on board with a couple of decisions that this movie took. I mean, the story is very simple. It's the story of this David King, played by Denzel Washington. He is an important person into the music industry. He has this is a music mogul. He has this Stuck in Hits Records. It's basically a company, a label, a musical label in the industry that produce some of the greatest talent in the black music contemporary history, and is at the top. But at the same time, there is a new gigantic company completely unrelated to music, that is my understanding, that they want to buy his company, and his co-owner of the company, they are inclined to say yes. But his plan is basically to regain power of the company, buy the company himself, buy out the company himself, be in charge again, and try to lead the company in the direction he wants it to be led. Okay, perfect. So, but at some point, somebody kidnaps his son and the other guy, that the friends that is with him, that is the son of Jeffrey Wright, basically is his driver. Okay, so how is the movie? I think, okay, the movie has some fantastic idea, both on the directing side, both on the editing side, and the artistic side that of the music, how it's written and acted by the cast and directed by Spike Lee. I think it has some great ideas. For example, I like that the movie has a musicality in it. What I mean is that in the dialogue, the way they talk, it has a rhythm. It clicks. It's amazing. I love it. In some scene, it's more obvious. I mean, by the end of the movie, there are a couple of scenes that are like a sort of rap battle. I don't remember how they are called, those kind of stuff, but there is a sort of things going on. It's not like that, but it seems like that. And they refer to it saying, oh, are we kind of, is this a rap battle or whatever? No, it's not. So the movie has this musicality in the word, in the way he's acting, in the way they talk, in the way they speak, and the way this David King, he acts actually like a king. He's like King David. They call him King David, and in a way he's idea of a Mughal is actually King David. He's powerful, he has a presence. And I love as well the way the music he's using the movie. It's a thing that I'm bipolar. This is one of the aspects where I'm bipolar. I mean, sometimes I say, okay, I like this. In other instances, I think about it and I say, no, I don't like this. What I mean is that part of the movie use music in a way, maybe because it's a remake and maybe because it's going back to the original High and Low. I don't know, I haven't watched it. Out of the Akira Kurosawa's movies, this one I haven't watched it, but anyway, maybe it's because it's going back to the old way of make cinema in the 60s. But I believe that this is the roots of the decision. But there are many scenes where they're just doing regular stuff. They are in an apartment, moving around, talking and stuff like that. And the scene is supported by music by an orchestra, so the classical soundtrack. And it's a very lively, and it helps the scene to come alive in a way, okay? But it's something that we don't do it anymore, because back in the 60s and the 70s, no, 50s and 60s, in the 70s there was the new wave of Hollywood and they stopped to do that. But basically, if you watch old movies even in Hollywood from the 60s and the 50s, even a regular scene, they had those amazing tracks composed by an orchestra that were very lively and very dramatic sometimes, and they were giving a tone to the scene. And he's trying to do the same thing. And sometimes I like it, I see what he's doing and I like it. In other instances I go like, it's kind of annoying because we are no longer used to it and I don't like it. But then the movie, there are so many other scenes where the music, it's a little bit between to be diegetic. Is it in English diegetic? Diegetics, yes. Even in this, so I was afraid that I was kind of translating a term in Italian and English. But anyway, no, diegetic. Diegetic means that there is a song in the movie. I mean, yes, there is a song in the movie and it's as well part of the soundtrack of the movie, okay? So maybe someone turn on the radio, a music start, and then the tune is bring over also during the scene or even moving forward, even if they change, scene keeps going in a way because maybe they move in the same environment or whatever. But anyway, sometimes it is diegetic. At some point there is a Puerto Rican kind of sort of festival, there is a chasing and there's music, and there's music is diegetic because it's in the scene, but we keep hearing the music even if we cut from a character to another and we are not on that exact location where they are playing, but it's diegetic. Sometimes we see Denzel Washington in a car saying, hey, I need a team, I'm going to do something, I need to charge up myself, and so I need a team. And so they start the radio, they put a tune, that's the team, and then the shots goes on. Maybe we see the car moving on the bridge and we hear the team. It's diegetic, but it's also in the scene, okay? And so we have this back and forth between different kind of music, classical music from an orchestra composed for the movie, and let's say the classic Hollywood kind of use of music. And then we have the way we use the music nowadays. So with music by, let me check a reference, by A$AP Rocky and other kind of artists that they basically give the music to the movies. So the use of music, I like it here and there, but sometimes I don't like, as I said before. I like the musicality of the script, the way they act, and I like as well how music is well integrated into the story, because basically the story, it's very connected to what we are seeing today, because my God, he cares about music, because music is an anchor to our cultural heritage. Mostly for example, I envy a lot how music it's very connected to the cultural heritage of black people in the United States. I love jazz. I'm not an expert, but I had a friend that introduced me to jazz when I was 15, 16, and since then I like to hear jazz here and there. It's a kind of music that I love. I love blues. Um, I'm not an expert, but it's a music that I love to hear, to listen to. And I love how it's connected to, as I said, the cultural heritage of black people in the United States. It's fantastic. And in a way, rap music as well is it's very integrated. It's part of the culture. And in this movie, this idea of culture and music, something to say, and the idea that also music's very personal in a way, like movies. You write something very personal that come from inside, and then the words receive it and it's blown away. And that's how artists are made. That's how legends are made, through their genius, but also through her sensibility. But here, the thing is that times changed, unfortunately. And music, it's one of those arts that it's almost completely destroyed. I think the last piece, the nail in the coffin is probably AI. We've seen how AI artists are being exploited by companies, just record label just to make money. And as well at the same time, the movie a little bit talk about how record label and in general music is perceived something that can be pushed forward if you are already famous. Back then, label were taking artists. Okay, you have talent, you have something to say. I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna support you, and you're gonna be famous because whatever you say, whatever you sing is gonna resonate with people. We're gonna help you, and we're gonna help you to become famous. Now they don't do that anymore. I was watching even a Rick Beato video talking about that, and knows more than me. I'm not a label. I don't know those kind of stuff. But Spike Lee in the movie talks about that as well. So what they do is that they go on TikTok, Instagram. If you already have a follower, if you already have a communication that is viral on those social media, they're gonna push you forward because you're already done in a sense. They just will push you. They just give you more money to do whatever you are doing already. So label are basically ATMs, not actually useful anymore. So I don't. They just use the artists that they discover to make more money, to make money. So that they borrow money. It's becoming like a sort of a extortion kind of exchange. I lend you money. It's becoming something like Godfather. I'm gonna lend you money. And you're gonna make us rich. You pay the interest. I'm Italian. I'm making an Italian stereotype about Italian America. It's amazing. Anyway, sounds something like that, but it's how it is today. And is no longer about what you want to say. At some point, there is a confrontation between Denzel Washington and this other character, and they talk about that. The currency today, it's not. It's all about the money, and it's also about fame. Sometimes, if you check out the recent history, there are songs that are not famous because the song is good, are famous because indirectly, or maybe because it was engineered by the label or whatever, they created a character, and the character is selling the music, but nobody actually care about the actual music. It's all about the character. The music means nothing. It's all about the character having their era, their age of whatever, and to be this kind of gangsta kind of figure, and the music reflected the absolutely numbness of what they said, empty nothingness that they tried to put in the lyrics, and the music is horrible. What it's nothing. It's nothing. It's like Billy Crystal in City Slicker. Nothing, nothing. I sell nothing. If I think it was like that, if I remember correctly. But anyway, um, and they have this conversation as well. So the fact that the artist, they no longer tell something, they just tells rhetorical figure that people want to hear, because anyway the music is not the point. The point is that the character that became famous, and then people buy the music just as a consequence, not because they enjoy the music. And it's insane. And the movie, it's also about that. It's also about this character that is a king and is going down as a king. It's a story of the kingdom being in danger, and this king has to basically find himself again, find again his roots. Why he built this, the empire that he builds? Why? The point was not to build the empire, was to make music. And he kind of lost that, and they talk about money, and they talk about, I love it. In a way, I love what the movie is trying to say. I love as well Jeffrey Wright, because Jeffrey Wright, what he did was insane, because he was in let me check that movie. Oh my god, how was it? It was at the Oscars. American Fiction. He was in American Fiction. That movie is brilliant. I love it. It was basically this writer that, in order to become famous, he wrote a stupid book basically full of black stereotype, and he was pretending to be a ex-con, and he was trying to act like an ex-con, but you could see that he couldn't do that. And as amazingly well he sells that. So a guy that is articulate and he can't sell the idea of being an ex-con. In this movie, he's an ex-con. He's actually kind of digging into that in a more truthful. I gotta stop. In a more truthful way, and he's amazing because he's very good in doing it. It's I love him. But anyway, the thing is that he's fantastic in the role, but the movie has a but that I can't actually grasp. I can't, in good conscience, say that the movie is fantastic. I mean, I can't, not in good conscience, but I can't bring myself to say, oh, highest to lowest, great movie, one of the greatest of the year, one of the greatest of Spike Lee. Spike Lee, it's a kind of director that, to me, it's like moment where he makes movies that are amazing, a moment where he makes movies that I say, okay, it was okay at best. Okay, he's like that. Like Black Klansman was fantastic, was phenomenal. I love that movie. This movie, it has all those stuff that I told you so far that I think that are amazing. I love them. But at the same time, there is something in the pacing of the movie that doesn't fully work. There is something in the structure of the story that I don't like that much. There is something in the photography that here and there doesn't work. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on something specific, but I can tell you that something to me sounds fake, or doesn't sound good enough to allow me to step into the movie and believe completely to the movie. I don't know what it is. As I said, I don't know what in the pacing is not selling me the movie 100%. I can tell you what it is to sell, that it's basically not allowing me to embrace the movie visually. Sometimes I think it doesn't work. Sometimes I think it's amazing. It's highest and lowest. I don't know if it's on purpose. I don't think so. But a movie has highest and lowest, and so doesn't work. to me doesn't work completely because it has highest moment, lowest moment, and I can't pinpoint something specific, but it's like this. I mean, the only thing that I notice specific, if I gotta be annoying, is that they live in this penthouse, amazing. Not that it's not a penthouse, but anyway, it's an apartment in an amazing building, and they have this balcony, and they have the view on New York. And at some point, I was like, this is fake because they are facing the view in New York, and I don't know. I don't think it's a green screen. Probably it's one of those screen LED gigantic screen with a insane resolution where they project footage. Probably it's something like that. But the photography doesn't match. I mean, the lights that is shining on Denzel Washington and his co-star, I don't remember the name. It's too warm and too artificial compared to the actual light that is supposed to be in the scene. And so it was like, that's fake. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know. And then there was a moment where they are going to take the subway, and suddenly the shot is more grainy, more back to the 90s, something like that. And I was like, ooh, like it. And then it went back to be super digital, and I don't know, something wasn't working. I can't, again, I can't put my finger on nothing specific. It's very, I don't know, I can tell. But I enjoy the movie, I gotta be honest. I think the movie works. I had a good time with it, and it's on Apple TV Plus. So if you have it, watch it. Apple TV Plus has so many things that are amazing, and I think it's one of the best platforms out there. Speaking of streaming, and the offer is amazing. But anyway, this is my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on highest to lowest, Code Ceiling, and Life of Chuck. Let me know, what do you think. Vote the podcast, share the podcast, for the love of God, and let me know what you think about what we talk about in this episode. If you have question, the question box here on Instagram is there for you, and see you next time. Bye bye, ciao.